I want to show you the world's wealth. Where is the world's wealth? I want to compare some countries. The national average income in Brazil is $8,135. Venezuela, it's $11,000. India, $1,000. China, $3,000. You compare that with the United States, we are greedy gluttons. If you're trying to balance the globe, you're going to push all these guys up, or are you going to push this one down? You got to do a little of both. Now, for all the people here in America that have lashed out at the wealthiest 1% and blame them for all of America's problems, guess what? The rest of the world, compared to the average citizen in Mexico or Mozambique, you are the wealthiest 1%. You could be the lowest person on the ladder here, and you are still wealthier than anybody in India. You have cars, you have cable, we have cell phones, designer clothes. Well, almost 1 billion people around the globe live on $1 per day. My point is, get ready to practice what you preach. Except you are the one who's going to pony up this time. It is your wealth that is going to be redistributed around the globe to lift up other countries. It is a red herring to talk about the rich here in America, because the money is not going to the poor here in America. Tons of money is going overseas. In fact, since we have the most to lose, our standard of living is going to go down. I played you a clip of John Holdren, the science czar, yesterday, how he wants to de-develop the United States. Well, this is what he's talking about. But I want to play that clip for you again. Watch it again.
I want to just ask you, you wrote a massive campaign must be launched to restore high-quality environment in North America and to de-develop the United States in your book, Human Ecology. Could you explain what you meant by de-develop the United States?
Have you guys, what we meant by that was stopping the kinds of activities that are destroying the environment and replacing them with activities that would produce both prosperity and environmental equality. Thanks a lot.
And how do you plan on implementing that?
Through the free market economy.
Okay. Danger to the planet. Environmental equality is what he said. Remember, we're hurting the rainforest. So send the money to Brazil where the rainforest is to promote environmental equality. You notice that? He mentioned the free market. But remember, Holdren's goal is global wealth redistribution.
It's important that we have a global agreement on how we are going to limit the emissions of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases going forward, and an agreement that will include the tropical forests, that will include ways to transfer some of the revenues from carbon taxes or carbon emission permits in the north to pay for reduced deforestation in the south.
Now, how do you do that in the free market? Well, the free market works on supply and demand. So the government attempts to create demand by regulating, let's say, oil. Regulate oil. Force America to buy it overseas at poorer countries. They're doing it with the auto industry. Let's say you have to say you're starting to make electric cars. We must make electric cars. Well, they're expensive to make. Do you think you can make them cheaper here in America or in China? We create the demand, they supply it. We send their money, they send the car. It's global redistribution of wealth. How about solar panels? We keep hearing about solar panels and green jobs. Who can make them cheaper, us or China? China is way ahead in this. We create the demand, they supply it. It's brilliant. Now, another way, again, is with the oil. I just showed you our oil situation. The government ties our hands and makes it expensive, difficult, even impossible to drill for oil through regulation and bans. So guess what? We have to go buy it from Venezuela, Brazil, or Mexico. We can't make things cheap like they can. We can't drill the oil because of our government. So we send our money to them. Why do you think the Saudis are so rich? They were people in the sand on camels. Oil. How did they get rich? We sent them our money. It is redistribution of wealth. That is the motivating factor behind cap and trade. Not saving the planet, but what did he say? Ecological equity. Redistributing the wealth. Big rich companies will be polluting just the same, but paying poor countries to do it. It's about shipping our wealth overseas. I want to show you a staggering map. This is what carbon credits will cost each state. The darker the green here, the more money each state has to send, not to the federal government in Washington, but overseas. In Texas, it's over $1.5 billion. Money going overseas. There's no job creation. We no longer will have the capital to create and lift ourselves out of trouble. Nobody in Washington is attempting to get us out of these problems with free market solutions. They're not doing that. They're trying to de-develop us and put us on par with the rest of the world. Why? Because we're moving towards global governance. Look, this is not a conspiracy theory. It's not even, if that's what you believe, this is my problem with the administration. Say what you mean and mean what you say. But they don't. I guarantee you, if Media Matters and George Soros isn't on it yet, they will be in the next 10 minutes saying what a conspiracy theorist I am. That's what they do. But in their own words, this is what they believe. It's just two ways of approaching things. That's it. The question is, do you believe in freedom anymore? Do you believe in the free market system and entrepreneurs? Do you believe in the founding documents? We got problems. We've made mistakes. Can we take the best of what we have and jettison the worst and try again? Yes. They do not believe that. You've got to tell your friends, the Democrats who are there, explain it to them, who think this cannot happen in America. They have to stop thinking like the typical American who understands the unleashing of the free market is the answer. Washington doesn't believe that. They're taking steps towards a global society. It is imperative that you pass this information on, and then you get like-minded people, I don't care who you vote for, to go out and vote. I've warned you about a structure being put in place, and you're starting to see the switch and the machine turned on. The next 2 years will be the most dangerous in the history of the Republic, and I'll explain why next. My best friend is Pat Gray, and he's on the radio with me every day, and he said to me on the radio, he said, I can't believe I live in an America where Marxism is seriously being debated. I can't either. But I have to tell you, I believe the next 2 years are the most dangerous in the history of our Republic. Be very careful. Be very careful. Because I think we're going to be saying this sentence, at least the beginning of this sentence, a lot. And I want to show you, we're going to be filling in this blank. I can't believe I live in an America where blank. It'll be different each time. For example, the last couple of weeks, I have said this. I can't believe I live in a country where a private homeowner gets fined $5,000 for unauthorized agricultural activities. I don't even know what that is. What is it, harvesting organs? No. The citation was for growing too many vegetables in his backyard and giving them away. That's what my grandparents did. I can't believe I live in an America where they can't do that anymore. And yes, by the way, in case you don't believe me, it did happen in Georgia.
Cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. In court, I was told that I could have a horse, chickens, or pigeons, but I could not have vegetables.
What? Okay, how about this one? I can't believe I live in an America where you can't build a sandcastle on the beach in Florida. I've been to Florida. I've dug in the sand in Florida before. Oh no, this is new. You don't believe me? Watch.
You can't dig.
I can't dig?
No, you can't.
Okay. Why is that?
Because you can't dig in a national park.
Okay. He wasn't in a national park originally. He was told by somebody in Fish and Wildlife he couldn't dig on the beach. He had to go to the national park to do it. He went there. They asked him for papers. Papers? Okay, I can't believe I live in an America where an entire federal agency was created to make sure that people don't put too much money on a credit card and can monitor their credit card transactions. I can't believe I live in a country where that agency and practically every other agency is being run by someone, in this case it's Elizabeth Warren, who hates the free market system, wants to destroy it, and in some cases want a Marxist or communist socialist utopia. I can't believe I live in a country that has allowed Congress to become irrelevant. Elizabeth Warren's new agency, it has wide-ranging powers over mortgages, credit cards, debit cards, But Congress can't do anything about it. No matter what happens this election or the next election or 100 elections from now, nothing can be done to defund this agency. Why? Because Congress allowed themselves to write a bill that now she's going to be writing all of the laws for. The money will be coming from the Federal Reserve System. I can't believe I live in an America where an outside corporation called the Federal Reserve that nobody trusts was just given police powers, and you can't do anything about it. Now, I know people in the audience will say, because I got the letters last night, oh, gee, so you can't build a sandcastle on the beach. Really? For all of those who emailed me last night says, who cares? All right, so he can't grow some vegetables. I mean this sincerely. Is your freedom that cheap? Do you take it for granted that much? You don't make sandcastles, so whatever. Okay, I could see that maybe in another time, even 10 years ago. Okay, maybe. But really? What else are you willing to slip? How about, are you willing to let slip the tracking of our recycling garbage now? Because now in some cities you have to have a RFID chip. How about you letting it slip the veggies that we can grow in our backyards? Or how about in Boston, they now want to ban sugary soda, butter, salt in New York, burgers, SUVs. They're banning light bulbs. This is the beginning of the cycle. This is not the end of the cycle. This is the beginning. I want to leave you with something that Howard Dean said. He's talking about the infrastructure of the Democratic Party. Now watch him carefully.
There are institutions which do research. The best one is Center for American Progress. They're not related to the Democratic Party, although, of course, lots of people go back and forth. So there's Huffington Post. There's the Daily Coast. But that's all part of the infrastructure that it takes to run something. Campaigns are never about the last 3 months. They're usually about the last 3 years. And if you want to win a campaign, you have to organize for 3 years, not just organize for 3 months.
Okay.
But it's the stuff that's around the Democratic Party, not in it. That's the infrastructure that begins to change people's minds.
I just want you to notice that the press, the Huffington Post, is now being talked about Democratic infrastructure to help them govern. And they're not planning, they're not worried about this election. Remember I said to you, why would they do this if they care about this election? They're not worried about this election. They're planned 3 years in advance. Do you remember when the stimulus bill came out? I think I've told you this story. I asked my team, I was standing in the kitchen of my office, and everybody was in the break room, and I came in and I said, who wrote this stimulus bill? How in the world did they get that all together so quickly? This is very complex. They didn't do it themselves. Well, everybody said, well, it's David Axelrod. No, it's not. No, we found out months later, it is the progressive radicals at the Apollo Alliance that had been working on it for years. This is only the framework. They were passing bills under George W. Bush that made no sense at the time. I found them. I've seen them. Yes, FCC, I am looking. They're planning way ahead. This is only the beginning. It's beaches, veggies, light bulbs. Tomorrow, we will show you all of the freedoms that you have already lost and ask you, is your freedom that cheap? Progressives are using regulation to seize control. It is why I said Cass Sunstein is the most dangerous, because you will never see him coming.